Diversity, equity, inclusion. Boy, that's a tough one, isn't it? Quotas or competence? Let's talk about the real cost of DEI. And let me start off with a little picture for you. When I was wheeled into open heart surgery, let's say, that was 13 months ago, I didn't ask the nurse, what's the doctor's race? I didn't ask, is my surgeon male or female? I didn't even ask, what identity boxes does my medical team check? No, I didn't ask that. I didn't say, okay, I need this number of people on my medical team, and they've got to be this race, this sex, this whatever it may be. I didn't do that. I asked one thing. And this is the most important thing. Are they the best person to save my life? I mean, they were literally going to have my heart in their hands. And I want you to think about that. Because when you're staring death in the face, which I was doing that day, and I've been doing it ever since, with my terminal cancer treatments, the heart, I mean, you name it, you don't care about quotas. I don't care about quotas. I care about competence. But what DEI claims to be is not what it's being presented. Again, diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI. Boy, it sounds good, doesn't it? It claims to fix injustice, widen opportunity, and make society fairer. That's the sales pitch, folks. But here's the hard truth. When DEI shifts from creating equal opportunity to guaranteeing equal outcomes, standards fall. And when standards fall, people get hurt. I mean, DEI could maybe change their initials to, when you're in DEI, you may cause people to DIE. See, people will get hurt, and sometimes people will die. And let me give you some real-world examples, and I ask that you follow along and look at these objectively, because I know there are so many opinions out there that if you're against DEI, well, looking at Joy Reid, she'll say you're a racist, you're a white supremacist. And she's the racist, let's face it. Being against DEI has nothing to do with the color of people's skin that are involved in it, or the color of people's skin or identity who are concerned about it. So let's take some real world examples and think about this. Let's take firefighting departments across the country. They have lowered physical requirements so more women could pass. Now, is that merit-based, or is that simply trying to fill a quota that could cause people to die? And let me just insert before we expand on this. I think everybody ought to have an equal opportunity to get into any employment that they want and that they are qualified to do. And the standard, especially when it comes to physical things like policing or firefighting, the standard should be the same regardless of your sex, your color, your creed, what political party you belong to. The standard needs to be the same. Why? Because firefighting, policing is about helping victims or preventing crimes, and well, you get the basic idea. In Los Angeles, Deputy Chief Kristen Larson, you probably remember this, she once admitted on camera, if your husband's in the wrong place when a fire breaks out and I can't carry him, well, that's just tough luck. Yeah. Think about that. Now think about it. What a stupid thing to say. It's tough luck. Yeah, hey, I'm a woman and I can't carry out. I only weigh 100 pounds and I can't carry out a 250-pound guy. Now, there might be some women who can do that, sure. But what she said was absolutely ridiculous. The job of government and fire departments and police agencies are not to fill quotas. It is to get the best people to do the job. Now think about it. You're trapped in a burning house. Smoke fills the room. Flames are closing in everywhere. Do you want a firefighter chosen because they meet a demographic target? In fact, are you going to ask them when they come to the door, excuse me, are you in part of a demographic target? Because I don't want you if you're not in the quota. Or do you want somebody who can throw you over their shoulder, and carry you out to safety? Be honest about that. And let's look at law enforcement. Philadelphia police recently lowered their entry fitness standards to the 15th percentile of national norms. And that raised pass rates, sure, but here's the question. What happens when an officer has to chase down an armed suspect or drag a wounded partner to cover? Good question. Do you want a partner who barely scraped by in a watered-down test, or one proven fit for the job? Male, female, I don't care. Can they do the job? Do they have the physical abilities? We can't have, say, somebody in a wheelchair chasing down a suspect. It's just not going to work. Now, that doesn't mean somebody in a wheelchair cannot do some other things with the police department or fire department, but they're not the ones that should be sent in. Think about it. We want somebody who is proven fit for the job. And a good example here recently, the past few days, the FBI and pull-ups. Even Congress has debated this. Senator Macy Hirano, who has the IQ of a squid. No, that puts her in a higher level, of a twig. Well, she once pressed FBI officials, do female recruits really need to do a pull-up? She mentioned this to Kash Patel. And Kash Patel, I loved his response. He responded, yes, because if you can't do one pull-up, how will you scale a fence chasing down a terrorist? Now, that's common sense, right? The job is dangerous. The standard exists for a reason. How about, let's take the Army, military, the Army's fitness test. The U.S. Army rolled out a new combat fitness test, and women failed at much higher rates than men. The solution? Change the test, lower the standards. But here's the consequences. In combat, the bullet doesn't care about equity, doesn't care about inclusion, it doesn't care about diversity, it cares about killing the enemy. The enemy doesn't ask about fairness. What matters is, can the soldier fight, carry, climb, endure? And again, whoever it is, as long as they meet the standard and other qualifications, let them in. Here's another example. And this has been big over the last few months as we've looked at some of the horrible, going back to that horrible helicopter crashing into a jet as it was landing back east. Oh, aviation and air traffic controllers. Now let's move to the skies. In 2014, the FAA began using a biographical assessment test to screen air traffic controller applicants. It replaced experience-based measures with vague personality questions. Why? To hit diversity targets, quotas. The result? Thousands of highly qualified candidates, folks, with aviation degrees or military control experience were tossed aside, lost their jobs, while inexperienced applicants got priority. Now think about it. When hundreds of lives are on the line in the air, do you want the person guiding your plane chosen for skill or for statistics? Again, quotas can kill. Here's another example, medicine and admissions. Here's where it gets personal. Some medical schools are lowering MCAT score expectations to boost racial representation. And studies show accepted students in certain groups often have lower test scores than those rejected in others. Now ask yourself, when your child is on the operating table, do you want the best surgeon or the surgeon who satisfied a diversity spreadsheet? Now be honest. I want the best surgeon. I don't care what color they are, what sex they are, what gender they claim to be. I want the best. Now, this isn't prejudice, folks, at all. It's not bigotry. It's not racism. It's survival. Think about that. See, this isn't just firefighting. It isn't just the FBI. It isn't just the Army. It isn't just med school. It's boardrooms where California quotas for women and minorities were struck down by the courts. It's corporate America, where promotions are tied to filling boxes, not performance. It's training seminars that silence people by branding them racist if they disagree, branding them racist if they disagree. And you'll hear me say repeatedly in a lot of different videos that racism is a phony word, at least the way it is used, because it is a word now used to stigmatize people and to get them silenced, to shut them up, because we don't want to have that label on us. Of course not. And of course, we look at the late Charlie Kirk, a good man, a godly man, a gift to the United States. He had been called a racist, he had been called a misogynist, he had been called a Nazi, he had been called all these phony names by people too ignorant to actually get up and debate their position, even though he gave them an open mic to do that. He allowed them to challenge, but instead they take the cheap route because they want to silence him, and then they're going to go out and celebrate after his death afterwards. Well, getting off subject. DEI has moved from opportunity to enforcement, from fairness to favoritism. The consequences? What happens when you lower standards to meet quotas? Lives are at risk in fires. What happens when you lower standards to get quotas? Patients are endangered in hospitals. Quotas affect national security. It gets compromised in the military. We'll see that trust gets eroded in workplaces. And here's the backfire. The very people DEI claims to help get stigmatized. A woman or minority who is highly qualified may be seen as a quota hire. And that's not fair. That's not justice. That's poison as well. So let me give you that word picture, and we can return to the story again. I've sat in the hospital bed. I've faced cancer. Still have terminal cancer. I've faced open heart surgery. I've still got chronic heart failure. One of the two is going to kill me. I've had strokes and diabetes, and in every room I saw men and women, black and white, Asian, Hispanic, old and young, but I never once asked, what identity box do you fit in? I asked, are you the best person to help me survive? Beyond that, I didn't care. That's really, folks, the only question that matters. And I really want you to think about that. Be open-minded, be objective, and don't let your individual bias start to leak in the sense that everybody's a racist, according to Joy Reid, or we look at the ladies on The View making those claims to shut people up so that they can continue destroying America. Absolutely true. Even if that's not their intent, which I do think it is, we see that America is getting destroyed when we work more on quotas and get away from meritocracy. Think about it. Imagine that, let's take the NFL, for example. What if they announced, okay, in the NFL, we're going to make sure we have 50% women in the NFL, 50% men, or 50-51, whatever it comes out to, and we've got to have this percentage of this color and this percentage of that color, and we've got to have a certain percentage of homosexual or lesbian. I mean, you start playing the quota game, and what do you end up with? The NFL has already gone to ridiculous ends. I mean, you look at some of the new stuff, the way they do their kickoffs and things, kind of crazy, but that's up to them. But would you still find those games interesting and compelling and as exciting as they are when they take the very best players and put them on the field? I think we need the best. They think they need the best, and I agree with them. And I'll tell you what, most of the public thinks the same thing. We've got the NBA, same type of situation. We have the WNBA. Though pretty soon, I'm sure we'll have males in the WNBA as well. But, equal opportunity for everyone, yes, absolutely, I agree. And don't discriminate based on the sex, the gender, the race. Don't discriminate, but equal outcome by force? That's ludicrous. That kills merit. And when merit dies, safety dies. So let me be clear. We don't need lower standards. We don't need quotas. We need excellence in everything we do, because in the end, it's competence, not quotas. It's competence, not quotas, that save lives. Think about that. Now, in the meantime, I hope that you will, if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe, follow if you happen to be on Rumble, whatever it takes. But please give me your comments. Agree, disagree. And by the way, on this channel, I'm looking for people to debate. Yeah, we might be able to pull that off. So if you really disagree, or if you have a similar opinion, let me know. But more than anything else, let's keep the conversation going. Because without conversation and without communication, things really go to hell quickly. We have to talk things out, not with violence, but with words, thoughts, ideas, and challenge everybody in the arena ideas. Think Rush Limbaugh. Think the late Charlie Kirk. All right? So, what's your thoughts? DEI or DIE? Tell me more. We'll talk later.